everyone, welcome to the Mary Adkins YouTube channel. I'm Harrison Gale, friend of the channel and creative and business director at Mary's 12-month MFA alternative for novelists and memoirists, the Book Incubator. I'm a special guest here today, here to give you my honest review of the Freewrite Traveler 1 month in. Handwriting or typing? It's an age-old debate amongst writers everywhere. Lots of folks prefer the lo-fi approach that a notebook provides. A notebook can't text you back. But other folks prefer typing. It can be a lot easier on your hands, for one thing, and if you have a hard time reading your own handwriting, guilty, typing makes it a heck of a lot easier to read. Then again, it's connected to dun dun dun, the internet and a million other things that distract you from actually writing. So this is where the Freewrite comes in. The Freewrite is essentially a digital typewriter, allowing you to type away on a portable keyboard and screen without any of the distractions that come with typing on a computer. So is the Freewrite the perfect marriage between handwriting in a notebook and typing your draft? Well, let's find out. So I got a Freewrite Traveler about a month ago, and honestly, I was super pumped to try it out. I myself am a typer, but that's only because I tend to lose my train of thought. If I try writing in a notebook, like I'll be handwriting and it'll take forever for my hand to actually catch up with what is in my head, that by the time I get to the end of the sentence, I forgot the next thing I was gonna say, and it's a bad time. So up until now, I've been mostly typing my prose work in an app called Scrivener, which rocks, by the way. Shout out to Literature and Latte, the people who make Scrivener. Y'all are amazing. And Mary does have a couple of videos on Scrivener on the YouTube channel. So we'll include some links to that in the description so you can check them out if you're interested. And that worked for a while. But, and yes, there is a but, since I have to use Scrivener on a computer, I often find myself getting distracted by texts, emails, the inevitable Wikipedia rabbit hole, and so on every time I sit down to write. I do generally get where I need to go, but it takes way longer than it should, or at least way longer than I want it to. Then I started seeing ads for the Freewrite, which is this neat little thingamajig here. So what exactly is the Freewrite? It's basically a digital typewriter. So the only thing that this is meant to do is be a word processor, and that's the point. There is a less portable but fancier version of this available from Freewrite that is called the Smart Typewriter, but today I'm reviewing this one, which is the lighter and cheaper version of their digital typewriters. So when I first got my hands on it, I did a quick review with Mary, but here are my more in-depth thoughts on the Freewrite Traveler after having used it for 1 month. What's good about it? Number one, it's portable and easy to handle. You can use it anywhere. So I love my laptop, but it is kind of heavy, which, yes, I know that's a little ironic, something modernity, but if I need my computer somewhere, sure, it's not like I'm lugging around like a full desktop setup, but 4 pounds is 4 pounds, and at that point I really start to feel it in my purse or my backpack, but the Traveler is only slightly heavier than 1 pound, so it is super light. I put it in my bag, I can barely feel it in there, and the clamshell design makes it super easy to just close it, pop it in your bag, and take it anywhere. Plus, it has an e-ink screen, which is the same or similar technology that is used on the Amazon Kindle. So if you have a Kindle or if you've ever used one before, it's the same deal. So it makes it really easy to read it, and it actually gets easier to read in sunlight or in direct light. So it's way simpler to take your Freewrite to a coffee shop, to the library, to the park even, and go and do some writing outside or write whenever or wherever the mood strikes you. Number two, it eliminates distraction. So I've heard some people call the Freewrite a glorified word processor, which yes, it kind of is, but that's kind of the point. All you can do with it is type, and that is actually, to me, one of its greatest features. So it's way harder to get distracted with research or text or that game that you can play on Google Chrome when the internet goes out, when you can't actually do any of those things on it. So all you have in front of you are the words that you've written and blank space to fill, and it really helps me stay focused. Number three, relatively easy to use. Because its purpose is so simple, using a Freewrite is pretty streamlined in my experience. So you can get to working on a new document pretty quickly from startup. And once you've got your document open, you can just start typing and keep going pretty much as long as you want. Number 4. Relatively long battery life. So speaking of typing as long as you want, this baby can go really far on a single charge. So the website says that the Traveler has, quote, 4 weeks of running time with regular usage defined as 30 minutes per day. And I've been using it maybe a couple of days a week since fully charging it once since I got it. And I only got a low battery notification yesterday. So those numbers pretty much hold up for me. What needs work? So the Freewrite is slower than I would like it to be in only 2 respects, and that's startup time and screen response time. It takes about 2 minutes to turn on a Freewrite Traveler from a fully off state, so not from sleep mode, and there is also a slight delay between using a key on the keyboard to type and actually seeing it on the screen. So if you are not a super fast typer, you're probably not even gonna notice it, but I type pretty quickly, and that is not a humble brag. Because of that, I tend to make more errors and then I just go back really quickly to fix them, which is definitely harder to do with this degree of lag. So that has taken some getting used to. Number 2. Sometimes this keyboard feels awkward. The keys definitely have that nice clicky feeling that I get with, say, like my MacBook Pro keyboard, and I'll type a little bit so you can hear it. You know, click, click, clicky. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's definitely clicking. But the keyboard is flat, which is different from the smart typewriter, which is at a little bit of an indent, kind of mimicking more a traditional typewriter experience. This is more like your laptop keyboard, which is flat. And sometimes it can be a little hard on my wrists if I am using it on my lap or somewhere or on something that isn't level with my wrist. So like a desk or a table. And it can be difficult sometimes to scroll through past writing if you haven't gotten the hang of the WASD / arrow key mechanic. So if you can see this here, there's 4 keys, so WASD, that can function as arrow keys, but you do have to punch in a keyboard shortcut, and I can never remember what that is. So maybe that's just more of a me thing, that I need to get better at remembering the shortcuts. That is a little bit of a learning curve for me. I would really like it for it to have built-in arrow keys, but I also understand that that probably would have made the Traveler longer in order to just make the space for it. My guess is that the developers probably had to make a lot of sacrifices like that. Like, there's no number pad. It is meant to be as streamlined as possible to keep it light and to keep it travelable, so I get it. I'll tell you straight up, I am not a morning person. If anything, I'm not even a night owl. I'm like a night gremlin. Like, I am at my most powerful at like 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. I only resist that in order to be awake with the rest of society. Something that I like about typing is that if I'm on a computer and I've got a burst of inspiration midnight, if I'm on a computer, I can make like a bed fort or something and like bask in the blue glow of the screen while I write. Unfortunately, the Traveler doesn't have a backlight or a front light, so you can only use it in direct light, like with a lamp or in the sun, and that's part of the e-ink technology. So if you're wondering what a backlight and front light are, they're basically just lights that are installed at one point or another in a screen in order to light up the screen independently from the ambient light around you. So if you have a backlight, which most devices that are lit are backlights, you usually can't see them directly by looking at the device, but those are usually behind the screen. They're preferred because they do a better job of lighting up the whole screen. So most electronic devices that you use now every day probably have a backlight in them. There are other devices that use a front light. So same idea, but it's in the front of the screen. So usually either down below or from up top. If you've ever used one of those like clippy lights to read a book in the dark or in a dark area, that's the same idea as a front light. It's doing the same thing. So this has neither of them. There is a front light on the smart typewriter, which I really like, again, because I love writing in the dark. This doesn't have one, but you know, I'll sacrifice that for all of the other benefits that it has. Number 4, limited aesthetic choices. Let me preface this by calling myself out for being the person who is still mad that Apple has yet to release a version of the MacBook Pro with the beautiful rose gold finish they did for the MacBook Air a couple of years ago. Look, sometimes you need more processing power and you want your computer to look fabulous, so what are people like me to do? But with that in mind, I am a little disappointed that the Traveler only came in plain black when I got one, and they did just release a transparent shell version that they call Ghost, which does look cool, but it would be nice to have a little bit of variety. Rose gold would kill, just saying. Aside from colors, the shell material is not fingerprint friendly. So it's a polycarbonate shell and it is a magnet for the oils in your hands, fingerprints, even just like stray like fuzz things from around your house. And seeing as this is the portable version of the Freewrite, you're going to be handling it a lot with your hands. And it's not really an issue on the inside because I don't know if it's, it feels like a slightly different material. And also the color is white, so that just hides dirt and oil and whatnot more easily. And that is the side of the Freewrite that you're going to be seeing most of the time anyway while you're using it. But if you are an aesthetics freak like me, it might bug you to have this fingerprint magnet. Now, before I go, I do want to let you know about some free writing content that I know will change your writing life. If any of the following sounds like you, and I know this because I watched it and it changed my writing life. So if this sounds like you, you'd love to finally write your book, but you don't know how to find the time, or you haven't written a creative word in years, or you're the opposite. You've got the MFA in creative writing, you've taken 100 different writing classes, but it sucked all of the fun out of it and now you're stuck. When I'm not writing my own book, I'm the creative and business director at the Book Incubator, a 12-month MFA alternative for novelists and memoirists founded by three-time published novelist and writing coach Mary Adkins. She's put together a free training on how to write your dream book while holding down a full-time job or whatever it is that you do. And in it, Mary teaches you the exact process that she uses to write her books. All you have to do to get this free training is apply to the Book Incubator. The application is just 2 questions. You can fill it out in under 5 minutes, and there's no obligation to join the program. But if you are admitted, we will send you that training right away. What have you got to lose? Except years of your life dreaming of writing this book burning inside of you without actually writing it. So click below to apply and get that free training to watch right away. It'll be worth your time, I promise. And I know it because I watched it and it changed my writing life. So I wanted to do the same for you. Those are my honest thoughts on the Freewrite Traveler 1 month in. If you have a Freewrite Traveler, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, other thoughts that you had that maybe I didn't mention, please hit the like button if you found this video helpful. And if you want to stay up to date with Mary's content, go ahead and click subscribe so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching and write on.